Welcome back, everyone. The best films need both a powerful story and a powerful storyteller. And both can be found with our next guest. He wrote and directed The Inspection, a film based on his own experience as a gay man joining the Marines after 10 years of homelessness. Take a look.
Most of my friends are dead or in jail. The streets was gonna kill me no matter what, so if I die in this uniform, I'm a hero. Somebody.
Wow, we are so thrilled to have writer and director Elegance Bratton with us in studio. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Elegance. We're gonna start by piling on some praise because it's deserved. So the film had its world premiere here in Toronto at TIFF. Then at the New York Film Festival, it was introduced as, quote, one of the most remarkable American debuts in recent memory, just nominated for 3 Independent Spirit Awards. 2 words for you, Oscar buzz. How are you feeling?
I'm just grateful to be here. You know, this movie is based off of my life. I spent 10 years of my life homeless, and I always tell people, when I was in the shelter, I said a prayer, you know, to get to a place of thriving, to get out of this trap I felt I was in of surviving. I had no idea that that prayer had been answered 20 years ago, and I was working towards that until I got to Toronto, so it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's so powerful. All right, so let's begin. Yeah, round of applause. Please. Let's begin where the movie begins, because you were 15 and your mom put you out because you were gay.
Yes.
You were homeless until you were 25. And then you decided, I'm gonna join the Marine Corps. Why?
You know, there's a lot of reasons to that. First of all, my name is Elegance. Any room I've ever been in, everyone's assumed that I'm Black and gay before I ever get there. And they're right. You know, and that's meant that I met a lot of like ostracism and rejection, but it also meant that I didn't have a chance to like build up certain kind of good habits that could help me to become relevant in the world, you know? So I wanted to go to a place where I had to be different, you know? And I was at the shelter and I looked around and I saw all these other Black men who'd been there for like 20 or 30 years. I'm like, is this my future? No, it can't be my future. And then this Marine walked in the next morning, and just the way he walked in his uniform, I was just like, if I could look half as good in that uniform as you do, sign me up. Now I'm here.
One of the stars of the film is Gabrielle Union. And, you know, we have seen Gabrielle's work for a long time. She's an amazing actor, but people are calling her performance in your film the performance of her career. She plays your mother. But you have said that she, in working through this role, helped you process your grief. Can you explain that?
Well, unfortunately, my mother, she was killed 3 days after the movie got greenlit. And I very much made this film to reach my mother specifically, because we were not talking. And I just knew that if I casted someone like Gabrielle Union, somebody would tap her on the shoulder and be like, hey, I heard Gabby's playing you in a movie. But suffice it to say, you know, I have a lot of gratitude to Gabrielle Union. She helped to bring my mother back to life. And unfortunately, my mom didn't have the ability to give me the closure that I needed. You know, she was the first person to ever love me completely, first person to ever reject me wholly. And I just have so much appreciation for Gabby for taking on the bravery of this, because I know it wasn't easy for her. But now we're here, so very grateful.
Yep. The exchanges between your character and your mother's character are really heartbreaking. And I understand that they were based on real conversations that happened between you and your mother. And as you just mentioned, she died just a few days after the film was greenlit, but you dedicated this movie to her. Why did you decide to do that?
A part of the mission of this film is to interrogate and change the way that men think of being a man. Like, get too intellectual, but Simone de Beauvoir, in the book, The Second Sex, she says, one is not born a woman, one becomes a woman. And I think the same thing is true of being a man, you know? And the Marine Corps is like the Harvard of masculinity, you know? But all that being said, I think a lot of times men aren't taught how to forgive each other. And people ask me all the time, like, how have you gone from where you were to where you are now? and how are you this strong? Forgiveness is the root of that strength in me. It allows me to leave the damage with the person who is damaged and to turn that pain into medicine. So I dedicated it to my mom because loving my mom makes me feel better about everything that happened between us. And what I've learned is that you can't give something that you haven't been given. And the unconditional love I needed from my mom was an orphan at 10. She had me at 16. In America, the unwed Black teen welfare mom was a villain. No one ever gave her the love that I was looking for. So by dedicating this to her, it's the final kind of loop in that forgiveness for me.
The film is set during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell era, which is when gay people were only allowed to serve if they kept their sexual orientation a secret. And we don't really see the experience of queer veterans depicted on film and television. So, you know, what did you want to say with your experience in telling your story about the military in particular?
Well, when you watch the movie, you'll see that it's kind of a hybrid film in a way. Like when we're in our lead character, Ellis French's point of view, it's very much a handheld kind of European film. But then when we see French in the world, the camera's on tripod, it's very formal, very geometrically composed. Because at the end of the day, Don't Ask, Don't Tell gets its name in the 90s, certainly. But in reality, queer troops in America, at least, were forced to serve for almost 80 years in total silence. So we're trying to establish that shaky ground that queer troops stood on for all those years of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but also specifically the shaky ground I was standing on at that time when I was trying to find myself. So I'm hoping that when people watch this movie, especially for queer veterans, that there's some acknowledgement of the sacrifices that have been made. And there's a challenge to our society to say, wow, this place that we would never expect to be progressive, the United States military, first to integrate, first to pay women the same as men, first to allow trans and queer people to serve openly, right? There's a potential for all of us to learn from that example, and I'm hopeful that people will.
Elegance, thank you so much. Congratulations on this fantastic, fantastic movie. Please go and watch it, support it, and support Inspection. It's going to be in select theaters across Canada starting tomorrow.
Hey there, wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.